Spy News. PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde allegedly called up another Central Luzon police chief amid probe into the controversial 2013 Pampanga drug raid. The Senate cites in contempt and orders the arrest of Ronald Santos, one of the policemen involved in the anomalous drug raid in Mexico, Pampanga in 2013. Malacanang clarifies President Rodrigo Duterte is not waiting for recommendations from other people as to who will the country's next top cop be. The city government of Manila shuts down Isitan Cinerama Complex after finding that it lacks permits to operate. And know why you should drink your favorite milk tea in moderation, according to experts. Good evening. Senators were dismayed after learning in today's Senate hearing on the so-called Agaw Bato incident that then Region 3 Police Director Aaron Aquino left the dismissal order on rogue cops unattended. Meanwhile, Justice Department wants to probe into the case of the ninja cops anew. Grace Casan tells us why.
1 year after the anti-drug operation conducted by the team of Major Rodney Baloyo in Mexico, Pampanga in 2013, then Region 3 Police Director Raul Petrasanta issued a dismissal order on 13 cops involved in the drug raid. 2 years after, on March 2, 2016, a copy of the dismissal order was given to the accused. 1 week after, the accused police officers submitted their collective motion for reconsideration, or MR. The PNP legal officer accepted the MR and downgraded the order to a one-rank demotion in August 2016. The said order was given to the Region 3 Police Director in that period, Aaron Aquino. Aquino instructed his legal officer to review the case folder. Tarlac City Legal Officer Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Bagamaspad reviewed the case and decided to reimpose the dismissal order on the same accused cops. When the dismissal order was given to Aquino, instead of signing and implementing it, he ordered yet another review of the case on September 6, 2016. The senators confronted him and asked him if between those periods he received the call from then NCRPO Chief and now PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde not to implement the order. Aquino said he could no longer remember the dates when Albayalde called him up. He assured the senators he was not influenced by Albayalde's call. The case folder of the police officers was left unattended for a year. During the term of PNP CIDJ Director Police Major General Amador Corpus, the case was again downgraded from dismissal to demotion. Corpus is Albayalde's mista.
Did you actually transmit it back to your legal officer, or it just lied, or nandun lang, idle lang sa table mo?
Hindi pwede doon lang sa table ko yan, sir. Definitely, mailalabas at mailalabas yan, sir.
So bumalik sa kanya?
Yan ang presumption ko, sir, na ibalik doon sa...
O Colonel, Bagamaspad, bumalik ba sa table mo yung...
Negative, sir. Kasi
Negative.
based dito sa timeline din namin, based doon sa records din namin.
Wala nang bumalik?
Bumalik na lang po siya sa amin February 16, 2017. Yung case record.
Mukhang may lutong Macau between MR and the decision na lumabas noong October 17, 2017. Nagkalutuan dito do sa MR.
According to former PNP CIDJ Chief Benjamin Magalong, just recently he was able to talk with one of Aquino's men in Region 3 back then, who told him the reason why Aquino did not sign and implement the order right away.
Sir, alam ko po yung nangyari dahil nandun po ako sa office ni RD. Namomroblema po, sir, si RD dahil kung sino ba ang susundin niya. Si General Magalong ho ba na about to retire, o itong isa na ruling class at about isang contender sa Chief PNP. Hindi ko po, sir, binabanggit yan dahil po hindi ko rin pwedeng i-reveal yung pangalan nung officer na yon.
In November 2016, Aquino reassigned the accused police officers to Mindanao after a phone conversation with Albayalde. After several years, Major Baloyo, who led the operation in Pampanga, was transferred to Tagaytay as the police officer in charge. Albayalde claimed that the transfer went through proper documentation and no special treatment happened. The Department of Justice is set to conduct a reinvestigation on the case. It will use new evidence brought up in the Senate inquiry. Committee Chairman Richard Gordon said he has coordinated with the Korean ambassador to help them bring suspect John Lee before the committee to testify. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Two former generals implicate PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde in the 2013 Pampanga anti-drug operation. Meanwhile, former PNP CIDG Chief Benjamin Magalong calls the PNP Chief a liar. April Sinidosa tells us why.
Retired General Rudy Lacadin revealed during today's Senate hearing on the so-called Agaw Bato incident that PNP Chief Albayalde called him up recently.
Konti lang naman ang napunta sa akin dyan. I did not elaborate because I don't want to be influenced in the validation process.
The embattled PNP chief, on the other hand, refuted Lacadin's statement.
Dito, it seems that everybody is ganging up on me. I really do not know. No, it's very unlikely naman po na General Lacadin ay sasabihin ko siya, we never had the chance of having under one office, no? Hindi ko po alam kung anong against niya sa akin si General Lacadin. Pero kung sabihin mong sinabi ko yun, ang tanong po ulit, why was not I charged?
Despite this, Lacadin said he has no personal reason to destroy Albayalde's image. Even former PNP Chief Alan Purisima argued Albayalde is not involved in the case because of the absence of evidence against him during that time. But following Lacadin's revelation, former CIDG Director and now Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong called Albayalde a liar.
Lacadin, na freely, confidently, he was saying na ito ang pag-uusap nila. Again, he is denying it. Again, someone here is lying. And I'm pretty sure it is not General Lacadin, it's not me, it's not the other officers, but someone else. Siya po, yan.
April Sinidosa, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Senate orders the arrest of SPO1 Ronald Santos, one of the so-called ninja cops allegedly involved in the Agaw Bato incident in Pampanga 6 years ago. Based on documents exclusively obtained by UNTV News, Santos is one of those with major participation in the anomalous police drug raid. Exclusive, Leah Ilagan has the details.
Is Ronald Santos here? We've been looking for him and we have requested that he be subpoenaed, and the chair will entertain a motion. Ronald Santos is very important in this case. We've been trying to get him. Can we order his arrest, Mr. Senate President, if anybody would? Because there are two of them that have not been showing up, Ronald Santos as well as on motion of the Senate President himself, and no objections. The chair orders the arrest so that he can be presented here in the Senate.
Senior Police Officer 1 Ronald Santos has failed to appear in Senate hearings on the Agaw Bato scheme for several times already. Because of this, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has ordered the arrest of Santos after citing him in contempt. UNTV News was able to obtain documents that probe Santos played a huge role in the anomalous police drug raid in Mexico, Pampanga in 2013. In an affidavit of arrest prepared by Santos, he stated that on November 29, 2013 at 2 p.m., a confidential agent went to the office of the Provincial Anti-Illegal Drug Special Operations Task Force following an illegal drug activity in Woodbridge Subdivision, Barangay Divisoria, Mexico, Pampanga. They went to the area at 3 p.m. on board a Nissan Urban and Hyundai Santa Fe. At 4:30 p.m. they arrived in the target area. The affidavit of arrest further states, the same was reported by Major Rodney Baloyo, the group team leader, to then Provincial Director of Police Colonel Oscar Albayalde. They said their poser buyer was transacting with a certain OE to buy illegal drugs. They added they were taken to a house where they saw a certain ding weighing an amount of shabu on a scale. In that operation, they were able to confiscate 36 kilograms of shabu and 300,000 pesos cash, apart from the 100,000 peso marked money. The same report was signed by then Police Colonel Albayalde. The report was sent to the regional office. Based on the documents, Santos was the one who received 100 pieces of 1,000 pesos marked money used in the operations with written initials RS. Santos was with Police Officer 3 Romeo Guerrero, the cop who arrested Chinese national called Ding Wekun alias Ding and a Ruel Cabag alias Owe, who were found in the house where the alleged buy-bust was conducted. Santos was also the one who made an inventory of the confiscated illegal drugs. The document was signed by the witnesses and operatives, but the arrested suspects refused to sign the affidavit. Based on UNTV's data gathering from Police Regional Office 3 or Central Luzon, SPO1 Santos was sent to Police Regional Office 9 or Zamboanga Peninsula on July 18, 2016. But Santos went AWOL without reporting to Pro 9. He was terminated completely from the service on November 13, 2017 due to grave neglect of duty. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The UNTV News team found out today that former cop Ronald Santos no longer resides in his registered address in Angeles City, Pampanga. Leslie Weedham explains why.
The UNTV News team went today to an address known to be registered under the name of former SPO1 Ronald Santos. We were able to find the location of number 61 San Felipe Street, San Angelo Subdivision, Angeles City, Pampanga. But according to those who know Santos, he no longer resides there. According to a UNTV news source, Santos had been constantly moving from one place of residence to another within the province. Aside from this address mentioned during the Senate hearing, Santos is also said to have stayed in a house in Barangay Balibago, also in Angeles City. He had also stayed in a house in Mabalacat City and City of San Fernando, Pampanga. The UNTV news source added, authorities are now in search for Santos after the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ordered to arrest him. Leslie Videm, UNTV News and Rescue, Angeles City, Pampanga.
President Rodrigo Duterte is not waiting for recommendations from other people as to who the next PNP chief should be, says Malacanang. The palace clarifies the president has simple qualifications set. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The president will not wait for recommendations but rather investigate for himself. PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde's retirement is just around the corner and many names of his possible successors are surfacing.
Hindi naman nag-aantay ng rekomendasyon ng presidente, haven't you noticed? Palaging siya, sarili niya. Siya nag-iimbestiga, nagbe-bet.
However, it is President Duterte himself who said he needs to consult and be cautious in choosing the next chief of the Philippine National Police.
Mr. President, mag-retire na po si General Albayalde by November. May next chief PNP na po kayo nasa mind nyo?
Not yet. Ayan ang mahirap. You have to, they call it vet. I have to consult everybody. Maya-maya madapa na naman tapos ako ang magkaroon ng problema.
According to the palace, the president has simple qualifications for the next head of the PNP, competent and honest, but reputation is also a consideration.
Sometimes siguro he appoints on the basis of reputation preceding the appointee, kung magandang reputasyon sa labas.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue.
The Bureau of Corrections and other law enforcement agencies tear down illegal structures inside the maximum compound of the New Bilibid prison. Bucor Chief Director General Gerald Bandag says the illegal structures were used by drug lords and high-profile inmates for their illegal transactions. Aiko Miguel details why.
Illegal shanties have sprouted like mushrooms inside the new Bilibid Prison Maximum Compound in Muntinlupa City. According to National Capital Region Police Office Chief Police Major General Guillermo Eliazar, those shanties belong to Chinese and high-profile inmates in the Maximum Compound.
Diyan sila nagtatago habang gumagamit mga cellphones. Hindi mo na makita. Ngayon, kung nakita ninyo yung original na structure, para silang gumawa ng fortress nila. Ngayon, kapag mayroon kang intel na na-receive dyan, gusto mong pasukin na mabilisan. Dahil kung mayroon silang sariling lock dyan, wala na. Bago ka makarating sa kontrabando, kung nasaan man yon, napigilan ka na, natago na, naipasa na. Kaya yun, giniba natin.
Using the Department of Public Works and Highways heavy equipment, authorities dismantled the illegal structures. During today's clearing operation, authorities confiscated bladed weapons, video-okay machines, refrigerators, gas stoves, and electric fans, among others. They also discovered a bakery, a grocery store, and a Chinese food shop within the quadrant of high-profile inmates.
Nagsulputan na parang kabuti itong mga shanties. Kaya nga ito ay, hango ito sa sinasabi natin Pangulo na linisin ng mga obstruction, di ba? Dito, linisin din itong mga illegal structures na obstructions sa pagpatupad ng maayos na mga panuntunan ng Bucor.
As the clearing operations continue, all inmates are back to their dormitory. Authorities estimate to finish the demolition of illegal structures by next week. The joint operations include the DPWH, NCRPO, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, Muntinlupa City.
The Philippine Association of the Record Industry, or PARI, in partnership with Breakthrough and Milestones Productions Incorporated, or BMPI, presents the 32nd Awit Awards. The awards night is happening tomorrow, October 10, 7 p.m. at the New Frontier Theater in Araneta City, Cubao, with delayed telecast on UNTV at 9 p.m. also on Thursday. The event will be graded with live performances from Juan Carlos, Four of Spades, Isigera, This Band, TNT Boys, Autotelic, Unique, Moira, Elmo Magalona, and The Hardware Syndrome, Jada, Janine Tanyoso, Inigo Pascual, and Gary Valenciano. BMPI Talents, The Wishfuls, Rhea Basco, Brads, and Plethora will be presenters of the awards. The 32nd Awit Awards aims to give recognition to the Filipino recording artists and the people behind the making of Filipino recorded music.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Alex Baltasar left off. I am William Theo, and here are the headlines. The Light Rail Transit Authority executives admit there is no disaster recovery plan set in place. The Department of Health is considering the possibility of including the meningococcal vaccine in the National Immunization Program. MMDA spokesperson Celine Pialago sues the 3 Facebook page administrators over cyber libel. The Philippine Coast Guard taps a canine trained to detect African swine fever virus infection in pork and pork products. The city government of Manila shuts down Isetan Cinerama complex after finding out it lacks permits to operate. Good evening. The Department of Health will look into the possibility of including meningococcal vaccines in the government's national immunization program. This comes amid reported cases and deaths caused by meningococcemia. Mai Bermudez will tell us why.
169 cases of meningococcemia were recorded in the country from January to September this year. This number is slightly higher compared with the 162 cases recorded during the same period in 2018. Based on updated report, San Lazaro Hospital in Manila have 4 confirmed cases of meningococcemia, while the DOH Epidemiology Bureau are probing other suspected cases. The Department of Health says they are closely monitoring those who interacted with meningo patients. Antibiotics called prophylactic prophylaxis have been given for them to take to avoid acquiring the disease. According to the DOH, meningococcemia is a bacterial disease caused by Neisseria meningitidis. It can be transmitted through droplets or by a person's saliva. A person who acquires the disease may die within 24 to 48 hours.
It is a bacteria that can invade the nervous system, the covering of the brain, in particular the meninges, but it can also affect the brain proper. And children, this is a infection with high mortality rate.
There's a vaccine against meningococcemia but is not included yet in the government's national immunization program.
Pag-aralan natin because number one, we are not aware of the cost. Okay, we will have to look at the cost. And because the attack rate is extremely low, very, very low. I mean, dengue, you have 320,000 now. Ang meningo is 169 cases as of September.
Symptoms of the disease include abrupt high fever, headache, stiff neck, convulsion, cough, vomiting, purple rashes, and unstable vital signs. The DOH advises the public to immediately consult a specialist once these symptoms occur. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has declared the legal victory of government nurses in their fight for salary increase. The Supreme Court says the salaries of nurses who work in public hospitals and other health offices will be upgraded to salary grade 15 from the previous salary grade 11. This development is in relation to the petition filed by the ANGNAR's party list, which sought the clarification of provisions of the Philippine Nursing Act of 2002 and Executive Order 118 of former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo that set the basic minimum pay of nurses in the country. The Department of Health supports the decision.
If there is money to fund it, great. We support it 1,000%. But that is now a DBM call in the Department of Finance because it is easy to say, yes, we'll give you higher salary, yes, we'll give you more money, yes, but where is the beef? At the end of the day, the question is, meron bang pondo?
The Manila city government shuts down Isaytan Cinerama Complex in Recto. It may be one of the oldest malls in the nation's capital, but Mayor Isko Moreno locked it down today. Harleen Delgado tells us why.
Beginning today, Isaytan Recto will no longer operate. Its operator, Trans-Orient Management Services, has no valid and existing permit as the mall's property management service provider. Even the owner, Tri-Union Properties Incorporated, had been operating without the necessary business permits as a lessor. Tri-Union Properties also misdeclared the measurements of the mall area and the number of their employees. The mall's business permit, valid until December this year, declares an area of 1,000 square meters with only 10 employees and personnel. The city government also found out that only one of the 4 operating cinemas has a business permit.
Sinabihan na namin sa kanila, mag-cooperate sila sa siyudad ng Maynila. Mukhang nasanay sila sa dating administrasyon na para bang walang gobyerno.
According to the Bureau of Permits and Licensing Office, they discovered the mall's violations when Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso ordered an inspection on the mall due to the sale of stolen second-hand cell phones.
And anytime there is a violation, we have the right to actually revoke it. But since there is a due process given to them, ginawa lang closure.
The Isaytan Recto management say they will follow the order and apply for the necessary permits.
Ang pagkakaalam namin is meron naman kaming business permit. So sa mga ibang violation, hindi namin ina-expect na makakasama yon.
Some of the tenants and employees of the decades-old shopping mall are saddened by the closure.
Sana po maayos yung kung ano man problema ng mall na to po para sa aming mga nagtatrabaho.
Nagulat nga lang po ako kasi yung nalaman ko po na magsasara to yung Isaytan.
Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Philippine Coast Guard Central Visayas will deploy a canine train to detect the possible entry of pork and pork products affected by the African swine fever at ports in the region. Gladys Tuabi tells us why.
A golden retriever named Pucci will be used to detect pork infected with the African swine fever virus that might enter Central Visayas ports. Pucci is known as the first pork detecting dog in the country. The canine has the capability to detect pork, both frozen and raw, processed meat and canned meat products.
We all know for the fact that Cebu is known for lechon. At it's not only the economic side yung maapektuhan, but as well as the tourism factor. So isa din po ito sa tinitingnang anggulo ng PCG as approach, no, as a national approach na rin po ito. That's why nagpa-train po tayo ng ganitong capability.
This initiative is in line with an executive order in the province of Cebu to temporarily ban live hogs, pork and pork products in the province.
We also have this, what you call the inspection, pero may gap tayo, the detection capability. So isa yun sa mga nakita ng ating District Commander, si Commodore Gavan, to dapat i-fill in natin yung gap.
The PCG will conduct another training for 30 more dogs to be used for the same purpose. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Cebu City.
The Light Rail Transit Authority, or LRTA, admits they have no disaster recovery plan set in place. Instead, they have a risk management plan. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
As the investigation on the LRT Line 2 fire incident continues, the LRTA admitted it has no disaster recovery playbook. A disaster recovery playbook serves as a guide or plan in the event the train system encounters big incidents such as the fire last week.
What kind of disaster to anticipate and what mitigating measures ang meron tayo, yung immediate response.
The LRTA said what they have is a risk management plan.
Meron po kami yung tinatawag po na risk management plan, and we will revisit po yun kung kasama po ito doon sa mga nandoon sa mini-maintain po namin na risk management plan. Kasi kasama po doon ang mga terrorist attack, derailment, collision.
Based on data, the LRT2's partial operation affects 200,000 passengers. To mitigate this, House Transportation Chairman and Sama Representative Edgar Mary Sarmiento compelled the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, to use its power to require bus operators to fill the gap caused by the present LRT2 woes. The LTFRB said that as of today, of the special permits awarded to bus operators for the LRT2 route, only 69 have been fielded. The LTFRB assured 120 buses will operate by tomorrow to serve affected LRT2 passengers. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
A lot of passengers have been affected by the partial closure of the Light Rail Transit, or LRT Line 2. To address their issues, the Department of Transportation has provided buses and modern jeepneys to augment in the transportation needs of the public. Let's find out if the government is able to respond to the demand of the LRT2 passengers. Joanne Nano reports.
LRT Line 2 resumed operations yesterday, but only partially. For now, it can ferry passengers from Recto to Santolan stations and back. The Light Rail Transit Authority, or LRTA, explains they will work towards a full operation at the soonest possible time.
After na ma-stabilize natin yung operation natin dito, yung mga technical issues natin, magpo-focus naman kami sa NAS. Yun ang susunod natin. So probably in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks.
Amid LRT2's partial operations, the Transportation Department assures point-to-point buses and modern jeepneys will continue to serve affected LRT2 passengers. Buses provided by the MMDA and the Philippine Coast Guard and ANCAS riders will also continue to provide free rides. Based on LTFRB's data, over 200 bus units have been granted a special permit to ply within the routes affected by the LRT2's partial closure. The government has made such efforts, but there are still some passengers who struggle in commuting.
Kaso nga, ang tagal-tagal naman. Siguro kakaunti lang, kaya ganun. Kaya ganun, ang dami ng pasahero, hindi mo na alam tuloy kung anong gagawin.
Despite complaints from passengers and statements made by several groups, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo insists there is no mass transport crisis in the country.
Ano bang ibig nila sabihin ng transportation crisis? Ang nakikita ko lang traffic, hindi yung transportation. May transportation naman. Kakasakay naman tayo lahat. May solusyon naman doon. If you want to arrive early in your destination, then you go there earlier.
What Secretary Panelo said, however, has drawn various comments from Filipinos. But the official insists the problem is the LRTA's poor management and not the country's entire mass transportation. Meanwhile, a passenger made an online post and said it would be better if public transportation in the country were like P2P buses, which are unlike private cars, which can load a very limited number of passengers, resulting in traffic congestion. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Caloocan City.
Meanwhile, MMDA spokesperson Assistant Secretary Celine Pialago has filed a complaint before the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group against the administrators of 3 Facebook pages who allegedly have been disseminating false information about her. In a post of Pinoy Laugh page, it stated that Pialago has allegedly advised commuters to better stay at home if they were having difficulty commuting to work. Pialago vehemently denied saying such a statement. Aside from the said administrators, the MMDA spokesperson is also planning to hold the Twitter page users responsible for spreading fake news about her. The PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group is now looking into the identities of the said Facebook page administrators. Welcome back to iNews. The Labor Department reiterates its reminder to all Filipino workers in Hong Kong to stay cautious and vigilant amid escalating protests and public disruptions in the semi-autonomous Chinese territory. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III says he has received fresh reports of series of protest actions resulting in disruptions in public transport and business activities in various parts. He appeals to Filipinos to prioritize their safety. The Labor Department also continues to monitor developments in Hong Kong. DOLE advises OFWs to stay indoors and keep away from the locations with protest activities. The Labor Chief also discourages Filipinos in Hong Kong from wearing black or white colored upper garments while on the streets to avoid being mistaken as protesters and to prevent untoward incidents. The Philippine Consulate General in Hong Kong has issued an advisory where protests are to be held until the end of October. And for the news abroad, here's Stephanie C. reporting live from Hong Kong. Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening, William. Up to 30 houses have been destroyed or seriously damaged in a bushfire in the Australian state of New South Wales. Scores of blazes burned across the state and neighboring Queensland on Tuesday as temperatures climbed as high as 40 degrees in some areas. Authorities said one man had suffered serious burns in a fire that was thought to have been deliberately lit. Bushfires were presently affecting more than 100,000 hectares of land. In some areas, the blazes had raged for more than 5 weeks.
We've had multiple bushfires, we've got no water basically, and now we're boiling drinking water. We've got no water just direct from the taps that we can drink. So it's been a disaster, yes.
The White House said it would refuse to cooperate with a baseless unconstitutional congressional impeachment inquiry, setting Republican President Donald Trump on a collision course with the Democratic-led U.S. House of Representatives. Aiko Miguel details why.
The White House has officially refused to cooperate with the impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump. A letter sent to Democratic leaders rejected it as baseless and constitutionally invalid. 3 Democratic-led House committees are investigating Mr. Trump. The inquiry is trying to find out if the president held back aid to Ukraine to push it to investigate Joe Biden, who is running for the Democratic presidential nomination. The White House letter comes hours after the Trump administration blocked the U.S. ambassador to the European Union from appearing before a congressional impeachment investigation. White House counsel Pat Cipollone addressed the 8-page letter to the leading Democrat and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the 3 chairmen of the Democratic committees. He accused the leaders of setting up an inquiry that violates fundamental fairness and constitutionally mandated due process, specifically by not holding a vote on launching the inquiry. The letter accuses Democrats of trying to change the 2016 election result and attacks the investigation as constitutionally invalid and a violation of due process. In response, Ms. Pelosi called the letter manifestly wrong and accused Mr. Trump of trying to normalize lawlessness. Agaw Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue.
The UN Secretary General warned that the organization is facing its deepest deficit of the decade and might not be able to pay all its staff in November. Beverly Saison tells us why.
The United Nations may not have enough money for staff salaries next month if member states don't pay what they owe, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned on Tuesday.
These months, we will reach the deepest deficit of the decade. We risk exhausting the closed peacekeeping cash reserves and entering November without enough cash to cover payrolls.
The United States is the largest contributor, responsible for 22% of the more than $3.3 billion regular budget for 2019, which pays for work including political, humanitarian, disarmament, economic and social affairs, and communications. Washington owes some $381 million for prior regular budgets and $674 million for the 2019 regular budget. The U.S. mission to the United Nations confirmed the figures. It did not immediately respond to a request for comment on when it might pay. U.S. President Donald Trump has said Washington is shouldering an unfair burden of the cause of the United Nations and has pushed for reforms of the world body. UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric said so far 129 countries had paid their dues for 2019, which amounted to almost $2 billion. Gutierrez said he introduced extraordinary measures last month to cope with the shortfall. Vacant posts cannot be filled, only essential travel is allowed. Some meetings may have to be canceled or deferred. UN operations in New York, Geneva, Vienna, and Nairobi and at regional commissions will be affected. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Rescue recovery team found a dog trapped under Bahamas building, still alive after Dorian hurricane hit the island nearly 1 month ago. Meanwhile, 5 more elephants have died after falling from a waterfall in Khao Yai National Park in Thailand, bringing the total dead to 11. Kathim Raos explains why.
In Thailand, wildlife officials in Thailand have discovered the carcasses of 5 more wild elephants downstream from a waterfall where the bodies of 6 other elephants were found last weekend. The carcasses were discovered by a drone being used to investigate how the first 6 elephants plunged to their deaths at the Heo Narok waterfall, known as the Ravine of Hell in Khao Yai National Park in central Thailand, said Sompote Manirat, spokesman for the National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation Department. Park officials said the first group of elephants died trying to reach a dead calf. The newly discovered victims are thought to have come from the same herd. The ravines usually fill up with gushing water during the rainy season. Manirat said the death toll of 11 is the highest number of elephants to die in a single incident in Khao Yai, where the elephant population is estimated to be about 300.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much. Stephanie C. reporting live from Hong Kong. A penguin traveler was rescued by Melbourne Zoo's Marine Response Unit after making an impressive journey across the Tasman Sea. Nina Armilio reports.
A brave penguin traveler was rescued after an impressive journey from New Zealand across the Tasman Sea and all the way to Australia. The Fiordland penguin traveled 2,500 kilometers right up to Kenneth River where it was discovered, struggling and underweight, and rescued by the Melbourne Zoo's Marine Response Unit. Videos and photos taken by Zoos Victoria and Phillip Island Nature Parks show the Fiordland penguin being nursed back to health between July 10 and August 2 at Melbourne Zoo and released back into the wild at Summerland Beach and Phillip Island on September 4. Dr. Michael Lynch, the head of Melbourne Zoo's veterinary services, said the reason why the penguin traveled all the way to Australia was unclear. Lynch is hopeful the Fiordland will find its way back to New Zealand and eventually breed. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue.
Videos of some elephants have gone viral on social media. People notice and appreciate the extraordinary characters of these gentle giants. Find out what's so special about elephants from this report.
Elephants are the largest land animals on Earth, according to scientists. We can say that's something apparent. Here are their other special characteristics. Elephants are known to stick with family, even when the going gets tough. Elephants' legendary memories help herds survive. These gentle beasts are tightly packed. Wise elephants fear roads. Elephants can reach the ripe old age of 70. But did you know, elephants are also considered as the smartest and the most caring to fellow animals and to humans. Watch this one. Elephant News shared a video of an elephant seen to be rushing towards a man drowning in a river. In an instant, the elephant swam across the rapids to save the man. But humans are not the only ones that elephants can save, but also their fellow animals. On this video, an elephant saved a crocodile who was being attacked by a hippo. Crocodiles are fierce, but they are no match to the massive hippopotamus. But the semi-aquatic mammal couldn't do anything when the elephant came to save the poor crocodile. Elephants are the most caring towards their own breed. On another video, a herd of elephant is seen saving a calf drowning in a body of water. Those struggling to save the young, larger elephants stretch their trunks to save the baby. But another story surprised the world, especially Thailand. On Saturday, 5 adult elephants stumbled into the ravine in what authorities said was an attempt to free a 3-year-old calf stuck in another part of the Hau Narok waterfall. All of them fell to their deaths from the nearly 500-foot waterfall. It was the same ravine where 6 other elephants had died earlier. Caretakers of the national park were saddened by the incident. From these extraordinary traits of elephants, we humans should learn something. They must be just animals, but they also have a caring heart. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
For the past years, the Asian drink boba tea, also known as bubble milk tea, has been extremely popular across the Philippines and abroad. But health experts warn that boba can be just as unhealthy as soda. Alex Baltazar will tell us why.
They say true love waits, and that's probably what milk tea lovers have in mind, as they are willing to queue for long minutes just to get their favorite cup of milk tea. So to prove if such love is true, we asked some milk tea lovers in the metro for how long they are willing to wait. And here's what they've got to say.
Since hindi naman ako lagi, so oo, ganun. Okay lang hintayin.
Indeed, milk tea has become so popular in today's generation. Did you know that it was actually in 1980 when milk tea, also known as bubble tea, baba naicha, or tapioca tea, first popped up in Taichung, Taiwan, and since then it has spread quickly all over the world. milk tea has not only been popular among walk-in customers, but also for those who'd want their beverages delivered to the front of their doors. Giancarlo Tupas, a food delivery boy, shares his encounter with milk tea lovers.
Kasi po pag bago ka lang po sa puro mga milk tea lang po papasok sa inyo.
But before we chug, let's dig into milk tea's potential impact on people's health. An experiment commissioned by Channel News Asia has revealed that a 500 ml of milk tea can contain about 92 grams of sugar, about 3 times more than the amount of sugar in a 330 ml soda drink. This exceeds the 45-gram sugar limit recommended by the Health Promotion Board, or HPB, for daily sugar intake. In 2015, the World Health Organization recommended that in both adults and children, the intake of free sugar should be reduced to less than 10% of total energy intake. A further reduction to below 5% of total energy intake would provide additional health benefits. It was found that an increased amount of sugar in one's diet may lead to obesity. Overweight and obesity are major risk factors for a number of non-communicable diseases, including diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and certain types of cancer, which, according to the World Health Organization, are among the top 10 causes of death in many parts of the world.
Yung sugar naman kasi hindi talaga mabuti sa katawan niyan, especially for older people. Diba? Kung pwede kang magka-diabetes, pwede mataas ang calories niya, pwede kang tumaba.
They say it's the little things in life that make it sweeter, but we should also be mindful of the little things we do and put them in moderation so we can avoid any complication. Alex Baltazar, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this October 9, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Konti lang naman ang napunta sa akin dyan. I did not elaborate because I don't want to be influenced in the validation process.
It seems that everybody is ganging up on me. I really do not know. So it's very unlikely naman po na General Lacatin ay sasabihin ko siya, we never had the chance of having under one office, no? Hindi ko po alam kung anong against niya sa akin si General Lacatin. Pero kung sabihin mong sinabi ko yun, ang tanong po ulit, why was not I charged?
Hindi naman nag-aantay ng rekomendasyon ng Presidente, haven't you noticed? Palagi siya, sarili niya. Siya nag-iimbestiga, nag-vet.
Sinabihan na namin sa kanila, mag-cooperate sila sa siyudad ng Maynila. Mukhang nasanay sila sa dating administrasyon na para bang walang gobyerno.
Mataas yung sugar content niya. So yung sugar naman kasi hindi talaga mabuti sa katawan niya, especially for older people. Diba? Kung pwede ka magka-diabetes.